Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about the predictable, indeed, the predicted series of flailing last minute maneuvers by Donald Trump, increasingly desperate, increasingly unconventional to try somehow, anyway, anyhow, to delay justice and accountability in the form of the trial in New York criminal court scheduled to begin jury selection in one short week. All right, so in front of Judge Merchan, Trump has filed a motion for recusal. A few problems with it, but one is he already did it and it was already denied. So the argument, all he's got is the suggestion that the judge needs to step aside because his daughter Lauren is employed by a company that does consulting for Democratic political figures. He's tried somehow to, whip up out of thin air a suggestion of a financial conflict of interest here. Somehow the trial gives her business and, permits that money somehow to redound to his advantage. It's really, far afield and on its own, it would go nowhere. But as I've said, it's just a barely revised, this financial interest argument, such as it is pretty much the only new part that he can even attempt to try. It's a little bit reminiscent of Fulton County, where the defendants were trying to frame some financial conflict of interest. This even more remote. And just an hour or so ago, the DA came in with a pretty persuasive response, not that hard under the circumstances to be persuasive, saying this all happened before. The notion of the conflict relies on a daisy wheel of dubious inferences, which indeed it does. Oh, and by the way, when Trump did this initially, Merchan actually sought out an opinion from the Judicial Ethics officer. Courts have those folks kind of around who blessed the arrangement and gave him a clean bill of health. So this motion is going, just like its predecessor, exactly nowhere. And it's not as if he will hope to have an issue on appeal. This is like do anything, everything to try to delay the trial. And the latest, I would say it's a close call, but is even more ridiculous and desperate. We don't know the exact details, but Trump has brought a personal lawsuit against Judge Merchan in the appellate division. The same basis, the same, you are biased, so you need to step down. But it's literally Donald Trump versus Juan Merchan. I'll get to it in a moment, but just think about this for a second. There's a criminal defendant about to go to trial, and that defendant sues the judge to try to get out of it. There's 18 well-established doctrinal reasons that even if there was anything there of substance, this would not be the way you do it. A criminal defendant doesn't sue the judge personally. There's no individual cause of action to remove a judge. It's a public issue whether a judge is biased, first and foremost, and the appearance of impropriety, again, an issue of public confidence in the judicial system and not a sort of personal right for the defendant, like, not being hit by a car or breach of contract and the like. So it's filed under seal, or at least we didn't know the details. This has just been reported out, but this is, the product of a frenzied session where, like, what else possibly can we do? There is one. This is totally cuckoo. It's reminiscent, actually, a little bit of what he successfully did in Mar-a-Lago way back when. He brought this whole separate lawsuit, and instead of having the challenge to evidence be brought conventionally, he had a special process, but that was in the very special sui generis, is how the lawyers might put it. In other words, rules just for there of Eileen Cannon, and of course she was reversed, and of course it was ridiculous, but it's the same, kind of effort. What will he try to do now? The days are ticking by, and he's got to be really fit to be tied. One move that defendants in his shoes sometimes make is to fire their lawyers and then say, oh, and my new lawyer needs time to get up to speed. But a judge doesn't have to accept the removal of a lawyer, and more to the point, a judge can say, well, you've got other competent counsel here. So, he can fire Todd Blanche, but his number two counsel, the judge can just turn to and say, there, okay, ma'am, you are, you're now up. You're Trump's counsel. We are starting Monday to pick a jury. So, he's pulling out all stops, but there's really nothing there. And there is, as we found out in the late immunity motion, which Judge Merchan denied as untimely, there's a judge who is onto him and has put, in written opinions that his tactics are very suspect. And indeed, the DA taking the lead from the judge, actually in the response to this recusal motion, said this is just dilatory. He's just trying to delay. And so everyone's on to Trump, and there's really no legal arrows in his quiver. The one I can think of that would be, interesting, perhaps complicated, but I think unsuccessful at the end of the day, would be to fire his counsel. He'll try some other crap, although more outlandish than personally suing the judge in the appellate division. I'm hard pressed to come up with. So it's maybe a failure of imagination, but I don't really see. Trump will try different things, but I just don't see what could possibly have any purchase, except for the if he fires his counsel, and we'll see how that plays out. And I don't think it would work. So motion for recusal, same old. Merchan will not accept it, and this bizarro lawsuit that he hopes will make for some delay. But I think we can look for the appellate division to make quick work of it and deny it quickly, and we will remain on track indomitably, a little bit like a roller coaster going up before the big plunge of next Monday and the selection of a jury to determine the fate, at least one of the fates, some number of the 91 indictments against the former president of the United States. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.